Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. Now, I want to give you a little bit of an update on this horrible case of Travis Decker. So, Travis is the ex serviceman, American serviceman, who seems to have just lost the plot completely. This is Travis, and he's killed his three daughters, these little angels up here. They have been found deceased. So Travis had access to them, custody agreement with his wife Whitney, and he had the girls every second weekend. Seems like he was a good father right up to then. They'd been he and Whitney had been estranged for quite a long time, but he'd asked to try and get, to reconcile, but Whitney didn't want to, and then he did get quite aggressive with her, and Whitney was trying to rescind the custody agreement, because the thing is, when if you've got a custody agreement where a parent is ordered by the court really to have access to their children, you can't do anything about it as the other parent. And although Whitney was concerned about Travis's mental health, she tried to talk to many people about it. Anyway, all fell on deaf ears, and the worst thing that you can imagine happened. Travis took the girls off to for their weekend, fortnightly weekend custody, and unfortunately then he disappeared off the radar. Whitney got worried when he hadn't brought the girls home by 8 p.m. that evening, because that was the agreement, because he had done some strange things with the girls before. He had apparently he was homeless, and he had taken them with him to stay at a homeless shelter. Also, I think he'd let them go off to the shops on their own, sent them to the shop on their own. So there were a couple of things that he'd done that Whitney wasn't happy about, and she was trying to stop this court order so she didn't have to send the girls off with him. Anyway, it didn't happen in time, and the girls paid this ultimate price, didn't they? I mean, you couldn't imagine these poor girls having a worse price to pay. And he's killed them, or the police think he's killed them. We're supposed to say allegedly, but I don't think it's allegedly. Travis, 32 years old, and these children were young girls. Now, what I'm going to show you, three sisters. I mean, we can't imagine what these girls went through, because, so I'm reluctant to sort of release details. I'm not going to give full details. But let's just say it was horrible what happened to them, especially at the hands of their own father. This is their father. He's the person that they're supposed to be able to trust more than anyone, aren't they? As I say, I've said before in the previous videos that I've done about this man reminds me of Chris Watts. I just don't see how anyone can be capable of killing their three daughters like that. Just don't see it. Anyway, Olivia, who was 5 years old, Evelyn, 8 years old, and Peyton, 9 years old, all suffered, terribly at the hands of their own father, the man that they should have felt safe with, the man that they should have felt comfortable with. And who knows what terror they suffered, because they were suffocated But not only that, their hands were bound with those sort of grip tie things. Terrible, awful, horrible. Now, the trouble is nobody knows where he is. He's disappeared, Travis, and there's a manhunt going on. I'm just saying what I think. I think Travis probably is not alive anymore. I don't think he's gone on the run. I think he'll be, said it right from the beginning. I just don't really understand why he didn't do it and sort of stay there with his daughters, because that's what these sort of people do, isn't it? He sent them off to the next world and he'll be hoping he can join them. I honestly don't feel that he's going to be trying to make a new life for himself. There's a lot of conjecture that he might have tried to get over the border to Canada, because he was searching. Before this happened, he was searching how to get to Canada, how to cross the border. The other thing about Travis that we have to remember is he is a survivalist. You know, not only was he a service person, he's well versed, he's done training courses on how to survive, etc. So, you know, he can survive for quite a long time without, and also it's thought that maybe he planned this, that he might have gone out to wherever he is now and put some provisions, etc., so that he could, survive quite a long time. That's a possibility, isn't it? So this is the Chelan County Sheriff's Office has been looking for him from the evening of May the 30th. Well, we're now on the 10th of June, if you're watching this live, or as I release it. So, that's 10, 11 days. That's a long time already, isn't it? And they found, the police found these girls. He went missing on May the 30th when he didn't return the girls to their mother, Whitney. And on June the 1st, after a weekend of searching, law enforcement discovered his empty vehicle near a campground in central Washington state in the USA. And very sadly, they found the bodies of these three little angels, Olivia, Evelyn, and Peyton. Olivia, 5 years old, Evelyn, 8 years old, and Peyton, 9. Their bodies were found sort of rolled down an embankment. Where is he then? I don't think he's far away. I don't know. I've just got the news that I want to share today is his dog has been found. So there was a lot of, from me anyway, worry about what had happened to the dog as he took the dog off with him. Anyway, the dog has been found safe and the dog has been handed over to, what do they call it? Humane, what do they call it? The dog's found and handed to, found alive at the scene and turned over to the Humane Society for care. Well, I hope they're not going to put the dog down. The dog's done nothing wrong. I hope the dog will be okay. I hope they managed to find a home for it. So yeah, let's just have a look at this article, which sort of says about the update. So a man's blood. Now all they're saying, so blood was found on his vehicle, and all they're saying is it's a man's blood. They're not saying it was his blood, but who else's blood is it going to be? But if there is blood, why and where is he? So the man's blood found at the campsite where 3 young sisters were found dead, as the search for their father continues in Washington state. Let's just have a look at this video. So this is Whitney and the 3 girls. Poor Whitney, my heart goes out to her. She's lost all 3 of her daughters. She's lost her whole family.
Their bodies were found at a remote camp.
Washington State now in an intensifying manhunt. National Guardsmen joining law enforcement officers in their search for a man accused of killing his 3 young daughters. Brooke Griffin of our Seattle affiliate KIRO TV has the latest. Brooke?
Nancy, the National Guard has now joined that search. They're assisting more than 100 local and state crews who are leaving from this command center via helicopter and sending crews deep into the Cascade Mountains.
In the rugged terrain.
Now, something that I just wanted to say about the Cascade Mountains. To me, I'm not familiar with them because I've ever been there. But of course, the Cascade Mountains, these have a strong connection with Ted Bundy, probably the most notorious serial killer ever. And when Ted Bundy died, he requested that his ashes be spread over the Cascade Mountains. And he was granted that. I mean, can you imagine that? Because he'd left a lot of his victims there. And of course, it's thought that there are many more victims of Ted Bundy that we still don't know about. So I think it's disgusting that they allowed his ashes to be buried, to be spread across the Cascade Mountains. You know, there was a reason why he wanted that to happen. As I say, I think because probably many of his victims are still there. But anyway, just an aside that, so as soon as she said the Cascade Mountains, I remembered it because it's a beautiful name and it's beautiful scenery. But I remembered this about Ted Bundy.
Of central Washington state. The search for 32-year-old Travis Decker is now in its 9th day.
We're not going to leave any stone unturned.
This was the last time Decker was seen, picking up his 3 children, 9-year-old Peyton, 8-year-old Evelyn, and 5-year-old Olivia, for a planned custody visit on May 30th. Their mother, Whitney, reported them missing hours.
Look, I can honestly say I hate this man so much. Anyway, I think he probably isn't still with us, and I hope so, really. But of course, he won't be brought back to face justice in that case.
Later, when he failed to return them to her home. 3 days later, their bodies were found at a remote campsite. Whitney Decker's attorney, Ariana Coatsart, says Travis Decker was an active parent.
He was going to all the girls' dance, soccer practices, everything, you name it.
Decker, nice.
Whitney would tell you, Travis loves 2 things in this world, those girls and Jesus.
Coatsart says the Afghanistan war veteran.
He loves 2 things in this world, those girls and Jesus. Well, I don't think Jesus will really give much of a shit about him at the moment, do you? How can you love Jesus and murder your 3 children? You know, just doesn't make sense to me. This man, I'm sorry, I don't have any sympathy for him. Don't care if he's got mental health issues. Don't care if he's got PTSD. Don't care if he's got piles. I don't care what he's got. What this man did to those 3 girls is unforgivable. And that's just for me. I don't even know them. I don't know how his wife is going to cope. His ex-wife. Just don't know how she's going to cope with this.
Was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder
and
whatever. Struggles with PTSD. Decker is also well-versed in outdoor survival.
It sounds at times that he would go out and would be living off grid for sometimes up to 2.5 months.
And late last night, some of those trails and campgrounds were reopened near where the girls were found. But officials still asking hikers and those who have remote cabins to remain vigilant.
So this is a very popular sort of spot where you can see there's a lot of cars there, etc. There are cabins there that people, holiday cabins, people go hiking there. And they've reopened it, which seems strange to me, that because he could still be roaming around there and he's obviously a danger, not only to himself, but to everybody. But as I say, I don't think he's alive, but then I don't understand why they haven't found him yet, because his vehicle is there. How far could he have got? Where's the blood from? Is it from him? why are there two bloody handprints on that vehicle of his? You know, so it's very mysterious. And if it is him, blood from him, he should be nearby.
It's unclear if Decker is armed, but Nancy, the sheriff, says he is considered dangerous.
Brooke Griffin, thank you.
Senate Republicans have just 3 weeks to get President Trump's budget bill.
Jesus, bless me. Sorry, I'm going to start. Sorry, I'll probably start sneezing a lot now. So the good news is, I suppose, the only bit of good news is the dog. Yeah, I did wonder, had he if he'd taken the dog off with him on the run, or even done anything to the dog. You know, just think, God, if he's capable of killing his children, he's not going to worry about killing a dog, is he? But he seems to have just abandoned the dog. That's what makes me think as well that maybe he's not in this world anymore. Maybe the dog could lead them to where he is. So, yeah, he's been charged with murder and kidnapping in his absence, of course. And according to a probable cause statement filed in Chelan County Superior Court last week, his truck was left at the campsite and it had two bloody handprints on the tailgate. And in a news release on Monday, the Chelan County Sheriff's Office said tests revealed that one blood sample taken from the scene belonged to a male and the other was from an animal. So, but the Sheriff's Office did not say whether the tested samples had been taken from the tailgate. DNA and fingerprint analysis are pending, the news release said. Decker's dog was found alive at the scene and turned over to the Humane Society for care. And they said the search teams were looking for Decker in the area of Ingalls Creek and Valley High, as he is believed to potentially be in this area. Please secure your homes and vehicles, stay alert and report any suspicious activity to 911. So these were the new pictures that were released to show his tattoos, what he may have been wearing. Here he's got a ponytail. But as I've said before, I do think he's a person, it'd be easy to change his appearance. All he's got to do is shave his beard and moustache off, cut his hair. But also I think he looks like a million other guys his age. You know, there's nothing about him that stands out really, apart from the ponytail, I suppose. So the Sheriff's Office said that while it is retaining command of the criminal investigation, it's turned over control of the search to federal authorities to give its personnel time to rest. And officials have searched hundreds of square miles, much of it mountainous and remote by land, water and air. And how traumatic, whoever found those girls, is they had plastic bags over their heads and their wrists were tied with those grip tie things. I don't know, how you get over that either, coming across a scene like that. So he's been charged in federal court with unlawful flight to avoid prosecution also. So apparently he's got training in navigation, survival and other skills. He's a very avid and well-versed outdoorsman, and apparently he once spent 2.5 months in the backwoods, living off the grid. And in the days before he took the girls, he searched online for how to relocate and find a job in Canada. I mean, maybe he has gone, maybe he's not dead. He was an infantryman in the army from March 2013 to July 2021. He was deployed in Afghanistan for 4 months in 2014. And he was an automatic rifleman from 2014 to 2016, with the 75th Ranger Regiment at Joint Base Lewis McChord in Washington. So apparently last September, his wife, or his ex-wife, Whitney Decker, wrote in a petition to modify their parenting plan because his mental health issues had worsened and he had become increasingly unstable, often living out of his truck. And she was trying to restrict him from having overnight visits with the girls until he found housing. So an autopsy on Friday determined that the cause of death was suffocation of the girls. The girls had been bound with zip ties and had plastic bags placed over their heads. How foul. Honestly, I just hate this man so much. So now popular camping and backpacking areas in the Icicle Creek area near where the girls were found have been reopened. So other trails have been open for day use but not for camping. And last week officials released recent ring camera footage and photos of Decker as they seek help from the public in finding him. And they urge people who live or own cabins in the area to lock up their doors. He's described as 5 feet 8 inches tall, 190 pounds, with brown eyes and black hair. I just want to have a look at this. Where was it? Let's see this. Yeah, it's just an update. Okay, so I was just giving you an update. The news is there is no news, or not into the making of this video, if you like. Hope to find him soon, one way or the other. I do feel, I don't know why, I just feel that he may not be on this earth any longer, but you know, I don't understand why he didn't just stay with his daughters. And maybe he has gone on the run, and maybe he has tried to get to Canada. But what was the point of doing what he did to these girls? You know, people have a reason normally. That's what's making me think. You know, it might not be a reason that we understand, but people do things for a reason. And I thought maybe he'd done this so that, you know, they'd go over to the other side, you know, and his sort of deluded mind, he'd be going to the same place as them. Of course, he won't go to the same place as them. You know, he'd be far away from them. I certainly hope so, anyway. Because would they ever want to see him again? Imagine what those little girls have been through, seeing their dad do that to them. They won't want to see him on the other side, will they? How could he even think they would want to see him on the other side? They'll be terrified of him. Anyway, I'll let you know any updates. Thank you for watching. I'll see you really soon in the next video. God bless these girls. It's just heartbreaking, isn't it? Absolutely heartbreaking. And yeah, may your God go with you.